If you've been creating more content and posting content consistently, but your content has not turned into people that are actually paying for your product, then you don't have a visibility problem, you have a messaging problem. So in today's video, I'm gonna share with you 3 shifts that I had to make from just posting content to making content that was actually going to convert into paying customers, from taking viewers and turning them into buyers. So visibility alone isn't enough. And one thing that I had to learn was just because I was making myself more visible, if I was not adding more clarity to my visibility, then I was just going to get more confusion. So I had to ask myself the question, am I creating content that's actually positioning me for the result that I'm actually looking for, which is I'm creating content to create income in some type of way. So as far as doing that, in the beginning of creating content, I didn't really know much about it, just like anybody else that is new to something. I was just trying it. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go on a 30-day run and I'm just gonna post content 2 to 3 times a day on multiple platforms. And I'm gonna see where it is that I can get to. Got over 125,000 views, got over 100 followers on, my platforms, but I hit a plateau because in my mind, I was not necessarily where I wanted to be, because after having over 120,000 people view something that I had put out into a marketplace, I didn't have one person buy anything from me. So I wanted to figure out how I can not just get attention, but how I can focus on attracting the people that I actually wanted, and also making sure that I can create some type of journey that I can take them through a pathway to actually be able to turn them into people that are paying customers. Because the point of having a business is to be able to make money, and we want to build a system one time that's going to be able to pay us forever. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the 3 shifts that I had to take in order for me to start seeing some type of profit, instead of just creating content that not necessarily was turning into anything at all. Because I'm gonna be honest, guys, I felt like if I can get in front of 100,000 people, I don't suck that bad to not get one person to at least give me something or sign up for something. But if you don't have the things in place, if you don't have the clarity on the systems and the structure that you need in your business, you can't expect a result without doing the things that's going to promise the result. So as far as the 2 different types of things that I had to shift my mindset in the beginning. And shifting the mindset was from just trying to get attention into trying to attract. So we don't want to just get attention. We want to attract customers that's going to actually be paying customers. So on one side over here, I was creating content with high energy, right? But I didn't just want high energy. I wanted high trust, because I knew that the point of me creating content was to be able to, gain trust. So in the beginning, although I had high energy, if it was not specific, if I was creating content that was for everybody, or not necessarily for everybody, like in my mind, I knew it was for somebody specifically, but I didn't prepare myself enough to guide somebody on a journey to be able to actually, build trust. Like everything has to be intentional. Or at least I'm a person that is very intentional, because I understand where there's intention, there's going to be creation. So I didn't want to just focus on making content that had high energy. I wanted to focus on content that was going to be able to, bring high trust, because at the end of the day, I'm building a brand, and me building a brand, I want people to trust my brand in order to become a part of my brand. So the next thing, I might need to change markers here. The next thing was, instead of just trying to make content that had viral hooks, I needed to have content with a clear outcome. Like I wanted to make sure people know why they're watching my content. I don't just want to go out here, because for me, viral one of my clips that I had posted maybe a couple of years ago, it really, really blew up. It was in a time where I was just trying to get started with content creation. And I want to say it got over like 700,000 views, because it was something that went viral. Like people turned it viral. But again, out of those 700,000 views, nobody paid anything for me. So instead of just making content that had viral hooks, I wanted to figure out how I can have a clear outcome with what it is I'm looking for. And the clear outcome, starts with intention. And that's what I'm gonna break down as far as the shifts that I was able to make. But outside of, just creating content that had viral hooks, when I first got started with content, I thought TikToks was just to entertain people. So it was a long time before I even got on TikTok because I didn't necessarily understand TikTok at all. But TikTok and YouTube and Instagram Reels are great platforms to organically grow anything. So instead of trying to just entertain, we want to create content that's going to empower and educate people. Again, we're being specific. We want to know who we're trying to help specifically, and I'm here to not necessarily impress people, but instead I want to activate something in their minds. Like, the point of creating content and becoming more visible is to activate somebody that is in a position that feels stuck already, and you want to activate them to take some type of action so that they can become unstuck. And if you can do that in a good enough way, or you can't do that, I should say, without a buyer journey. So the reason why I had all of these views and all of these followers, even though it was only like 100 for me, if starting from scratch and getting 100 followers in 2 to 3 weeks is impressive. However, I didn't have any type of buyer journey. So these followers, the followers wasn't turning into dollars. And I mean, we're creating content for dollars, right? We want to create something that people can be able to invest in for themselves, but can also be able to get them a result that they're looking for. So instead of, just making sure that I'm focused on the attention and actually going through creating content that without a buyer journey afterwards, which is pretty much being able to call people to action. So I'll put this here. So having a call to action, this just can't be any type of call to action, because a lot of the time a call to action is like and follow, and that's what people will do. But having a clear call to action, and CTA stands for call to action, having a clear call to action that's going to take them down a pathway that's going to pretty much go from you are a lead to now you are a person that is paying for what it is that I have to offer. So an example of a strategic call to action is, creating content in the beginning is what we're going to do in order to get visible. But because we're focusing on empowering and educating people with a clear outcome, and our goal is to be able to build trust, we have to, once we've built this trust up and enough people have trust, you have to remind people, like at the end of the day, to take action. Because we oftentimes have a lot of different things going on and we're just swiping. But if it's a pain that is big enough, and that person, which is probably why they're in front of your content in the first place, if they're paying attention to your content, then you're soothing their pain. You're being a pain reliever. Like, it's kind of like it's all of these painful people out here that want to solve something, that don't know that they want to solve them. And then there's people that just come along as people that seem like angels and pain relievers. And it's like, now I love you. And that's the people that we're trying to be. We're trying to be the pain relievers, trying to be the people that people love. But you have to, after doing all of this good stuff to be able to help them, you got to call them to action. Because if you don't call them to action, then no action is going to be taken. So again, instead of just, like I said, it's not about impressing people. It's actually about creating something or sparking something inside of that person's brain, activating something that's going to make them take action to be able to solve the pain that they actually have. So we don't want just followers, we want clients. No followers. Followers are cool. Followers is good, but we want clients. There's one thing that I know for a fact, 100 followers is cool, but 100 people that are paying me $100 is $10,000 a month. And 1,000 followers is cool, but 1,000 people paying me $100 a month is $100,000 a month. Like, we want to focus on clients. Math is very simple, which is why I love business. Like, it's not too complicated. So now, because I understand what type of outcome I'm truly looking for in my business, I need to be able to get 100 clients that I can be able to add value to and help them more. Like if I can teach people for $100 how to make $10,000 a month, I'm sure that is something that will be valuable enough. So I gotta focus on getting my 100 clients, and that's just how you have to think about this. Like you have to reverse engineer, the strategy in which you have once you have clarity on what to do in order to be able to get it, and be real with yourself. Like you have to be. It's not that you got to be a shark. You got to know what you want. Like you can't be tender or sitting back not knowing what you want in business, and no real intent is not going to be able to get you anywhere. So nonetheless, moving on, I'm gonna break down the 3 shifts that I had, and 3 shifts that you can walk away with that can be able to be of benefit to you. I feel like in some type of way to just be able to change the mindset about creating content, because I know it can be tough. I know it can be difficult. It's uncomfortable, especially in the beginning, because you have to, being a creator is not easy. So I applaud anybody that is trying to create. But as far as the first shift, shift number 1, instead of, wow man, we're gonna have to go to blue, right? I like blue though. Blue is the color of freedom. All right, so instead of creating content for everyone, create content for the right someone. All right, so one thing that I was doing in the beginning is just trying to create content without having anybody in mind, because I just wasn't clear, and that's okay. Like when you start out, you're not really sure what to do. But I was just creating content thinking that, eventually I'm gonna find my audience, which is true, because essentially that's what I did. Like creating content for everybody, it brought on the problem of I wasn't getting the result that I was looking for. So that's what changed my mindset to doing something, to focusing on how to change that. So I had to go from focusing on trying to help everyone to helping a specific someone. So like when you do general things, you get general responses. But when you create a specific message, you get momentum and a compound of the right someone. Like if I can get one person that is an ideal client for me, and I can turn that 1 to 2 and that 2 to 4 and 4 to 8, like again, this compounds. Once you start compounding people, once you start compounding the right someone, now you have somebody that you can dedicate everything that you are trying to build to, and you can be able to serve those people and impact those people, and that's gonna come with a premium. So as far as the questions that you have to, ask yourself, it's all about really everything is about belief systems. So what's one piece of content you can create that breaks a myth in your customer's mindset? Like, how can you solve a pain? The first way that you can be able to do it is just helping people change their mindset shift, like breaking the barriers to belief, because belief systems is going to be the first thing that is going to determine whether or not somebody can do something. So if you have been stuck in a place where it's like, well, I want to build a brand or I want to build my business, but I don't know how or where to start. Start by being able to break down the misbeliefs that people have about a specific thing, because people are eager to learn. One thing for sure, 2 things for certain, people are eager to learn. So what is one piece of content you can create that breaks myths? All right, and then just to be able to give, another one. What is, and you this next question will be able to help you figure out the piece of content. But what is one result your clients want specifically? Like focus on what your clients want. What does your clients want? So what does your ideal client want? And ideal means you got to be clear on who your client needs to be clear on the problem that they have already. And once you can be clear on the client that is ideal for you, you can figure out what they specifically want, and focus on giving that audience clarity. Like now everything is all about giving them clarity, building content that can be able to build trust through educating and empowering whoever it is that you're trying to help. So again, we're not trying to impress anybody. We just want to find that right someone and activate them to be able to take some type of action. So that's the first. That will be the first shift that you got to make. The second shift is going to be from, we don't want to value bomb people. So like, what I mean by value bombing is like just giving value without any type of, like, it's like you're giving me a bunch of information, but you're not really calling me to action. So we want to have value paths. And the path, I wouldn't just speak about a path without actually giving it to you. It's 3 things in the path that you need to be able to create. The first one is going to be, you need to have awareness. The point of creating anything or any type of content is to be able to have awareness. But in order to be able to have awareness, teach people the what. Teach the what. All right, that's what I had to, you teach the what and you sell the how. You sell the implementation. But if you don't have the implementation figured out right now, just become a person that can teach the what. Because once you go through and you teach people the what, eventually you're going to become a master at whatever it is that you're talking about. And now people will pay you because you have experience. So become aware of what people's problems are and teach the what, and allow for the how-to and the implementation of the how-to to actually, be broken. Like it'll come to you naturally if you're working towards it. The next thing is, and this is what I was actually talking about earlier, biggest problems that people have is their belief systems. So just break myths, make content around breaking myths. Make content that teaches the what, make content that breaks people's myths. Because when you can change the myths or the misconceptions that people have on a specific thing, then they look at you as somebody that, wow, man, you activated me to think differently. Or I was already thinking this way and you're somebody that thinks the same way that I do. I want to follow you and pay more attention to you. And if you're continuously adding value to them through time, then they're going to have a lot of trust with you, and trust leads to dollars, right? So outside of just breaking or helping break people's belief systems or encouraging or empowering and educating them to change their belief systems, you got to have an invitation. So you got to have some type of invite, right? Which is just a specific call to action. So the value path that we want to have, we're creating tons of value in 1 and 2. This is where our value pack is. So the value pack without an invite to a specific call to action is just, pointless value. And it's not necessarily pointless, but you're educating somebody to go take action with somebody else, because people that are, I guess you can say, the sharks in the game know how to call people to action, know how to get people to take action. And because they know how to get people to take action, they know how to get people to spend their money. So instead of value bombing, and we want to focus on a value path, which is making content that focuses on awareness. So teach the what, focus on breaking people's belief systems by breaking myths, and then have a specific invitation or call to action that can be able to guide them down a path to be able to take some type of action. So the last thing, and I'm gonna really, this is, the inconsistent call to action is gonna be the biggest breakthrough for you, because one thing that, in business, I didn't necessarily, it was always hard for me to be able to be in a sales position for another company, because it was hard. I felt like I was begging somebody to pay for something. But when it's my own business, it's a lot easier because I'm not necessarily begging anybody. I understand now that I'm more so focused on being able to help somebody that is being stuck, because it's like I'm taking somebody else through a process that I have went through. I believe it wholeheartedly. So you have to believe wholeheartedly in whatever it is that you're trying to build, because then it won't feel like you're begging people or trying to convince people. It'll feel more so like you're guiding people to take action on something that they already want. So if you can be able to identify what they already want through your awareness and knowing how to build value paths, you don't have to focus on being inconsistent or tender or scared to call people to action. You can actually invite people with confidence. So invite with confidence. We want to invite with confidence. And in one of my earlier videos, I spoke about once you have clarity and you add confidence in between it, that's the one thing that'll get you to conversion. So after you have clarity on what to do and you build confidence by taking action and you see yourself go through it, the reason why it's easier to guide somebody to call them to action now is because I'm confident in what I'm calling them to action for. If I'm starting out with something and I don't necessarily believe in what it is that I'm doing, then it's gonna be hard for me to be able to guide somebody else down that path, because deep down inside, my integrity is gonna say, you're not giving them your all. So I need to believe in it full-heartedly. And in order for you to be able to go from just having an inconsistent call to action, you gotta invite people with confidence. Don't feel like you are begging somebody to do anything, or you are, it's nothing bad. What you're doing is you're helping somebody become from being stuck. And when you repeatedly do that, it's not gonna annoy people. It's gonna actually build trust. When you constantly show up and it's like, oh man, this person's consistent. People love consistency. When they can see that you're consistent and trying to build a brand, you can't worry about the people that you've known your entire life that may not be able to see your growth. It's gonna be new people that has no idea where you came from, and they literally love your brand because of what you were able to do for them. Like, you're helping them in some type of way. So as far as being able to put all of this into one big flow chart or one big, circle to be able to understand what the actual point of content is, because at the beginning of the beginning of the video, my point was we're going to figure out how we can make content that's going to actually convert. We want conversion. So in the beginning, the biggest takeaway from here is your call to action. You can't expect somebody to take action if you don't call them to action. So right now, we've all been posting the content, right? Just add the call to action. When you add the call to action, you have conversion. You'll get conversion. And once you get conversion, you now get client success. And client success is a client story. So we're gonna come down here with it. So this is the big shift, right? This is the big, it's a little wicked arrow, right? But you guys get it. So we go from, we're posting the content now, add the call to action, the clear call to action. Focus on making content for the right someone instead of everybody. Give them a specific path to take by giving them awareness, breaking their belief system, and inviting them with a call to action. And then don't be tender or scared to call people to action. Invite them with confidence. And when you invite them with confidence, you're gonna get conversion. And from conversion, you get client success. Client success equals a client story. And a client story is gonna be new content for you. Because the best thing to sell any business is testimonials. So this is the cycle. Like, it goes, you have content right now that you're creating from scratch, right? And you're trying to get some type of customer. So you gotta call those people to action to be able to convert in some type of way. And then focus on getting them success and getting them success fast and over delivering on whatever it is that you promised them. So it's not like, yes, under promise and over deliver, but really over deliver and making sure that your people are getting taken care of. And once that happens, that's gonna give you the best type of content that you're gonna need, to where you don't even have to create content anymore. Your people are creating content for you. And that content is now gonna be a huge cycle to where you're going from right now, you're trying to just get random visibility. We're trying to add clarity to that, so that we can be able to be more specific and not have a lot of confusion, but focus on one person in specific that can be able to get us the result that we're looking for, which is building a business that impacts a lot of people. So guys, this is the system that we're trying to build one time that can be able to pay us forever. Again, create the content, continue to create the content, but be clear on the type of content you're creating, and give more than you ask. Like, when you're creating content, don't create content out here that's asking people for something every time. Just give value. And once people start asking you for more, you give them more. But then you focus on calling them to action, converting, and through like their client success, it's gonna give them a story, and that's gonna be your next piece of content. So if you guys like that, go ahead, like, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the